Hi, everybody, and you are really, really welcome to this Closing the Year with Compassion course. I'm delighted that you have taken the time to gift yourself this sort of bit of compassion. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Rosaline Bond. I am a life coach. I'm also an entrepreneur, a writer, a traveller, a mum, and lots of other things. And through my signature program that I've created in my coaching business, I help people create a life that they love, a life that they feel excited about, by giving them clarity and confidence over what they want and to go after and get it. So, as I said in the social media post, I've run this course a few times in the past, but I do solo parent a lot and I have been solo parenting over Christmas. I just didn't have the space, but I get such good feedback about it that I'm delighted to be able to do a little video and share it with you. I will say the technology is a bit of a stretch for me because I haven't really done this format before. I usually do a meeting and a Zoom and share the Zoom link and, all sorts of other things going on. However, hopefully we've got there. So what's going to happen? The recording will be around about 20 minutes, but hopefully you've got about an hour to give yourself some space. So you will be pausing the recording. You're going to be doing some exercises, not some weights or anything like that. You'll need a pen and paper. We'll be doing kind of some little journaling exercises, and you'll pause the recording, do the exercise, and then come back. So if you need to pause me now and go and get a pen and paper, then please do so. And then what we're going to do first is I just like to do a little bit of grounding at the start of my sessions. So this is just to kind of bring us into the room, kind of settle our nervous system. There's nowhere else that you need to be right now. You're exactly where you need to be, and you're gifting yourself this time. So just everything else can wait, put everything else to the side. So if it feels comfortable, close your eyes down. If not, just lower your gaze. And I want you just to take a long, slow, deep breath in. And then sigh it out. And do that again. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. And sigh it out. And just relax your body a little bit. Try and relax into the chair or the bed or wherever it is that you are. And relax your body just a little bit more than it was when you started. Just let your breath settle naturally and just watch your breath. Focus on your breath as it comes in and out of your body. And as things come into your mind, just try and quiet your mind and focus on your breath. How it feels, what's the temperature, just as it's coming in and coming out. Now, I want you to take a grounding breath. So what this is I want you to feel the feet on the floor. So if you're in a chair, feel the feet on the floor. If you're on the bed, that's okay too. And I want you to draw breath in from your feet, from the soles of your feet, all the way up through your body, through your legs, through your knees, through your thighs, through your belly, through your chest, into your neck, into your face, up to the crown of your head. So take this really long, slow, deep breath in, up through your body. Hold it at the crown of your head. And then release it back the way that it came, from the crown of your head down to the soles of your feet. It's almost like you're sucking your breath in up through a straw. So let's do that again. Up through your feet, your legs, through your thighs, your belly, your chest, your neck, and then to your crown of your head. Hold it. And then slowly send it back down. And we're going to do one more of those, just taking a really big deep breath in now. Up through your soles of your feet. Hold it at the crown of your head. And then send it back down. And then just move your shoulders, move your neck. And when it feels comfortable, just come back into the session. So, as I said, you are very welcome. And this session is about looking back on the year and looking back in a way that makes us feel better, regardless of the year that we've had. So what I'd like you to do, the first exercise that we're going to do is I want you just to write down a couple of sentences about the year that you've had. So I want you to write down a few things about your year, how you describe your year, and I'd like you to write down how you feel about your year. So do that, pause the recording, and then come back to me. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to write down a few sentences about how your year has been, what's happened in your year, and how you feel. We're going to come back to that. I'm going to park that for now. I'm going to come back to it. So we're going to do another little exercise straight away. I want you to write down 20 wins from your year. So 20 things, more if you can get them, but a minimum, an absolute minimum of 20. So things that have made you happy, that have brought you joy, that have made you feel content, things that have maybe made you feel excited, things that have made you feel proud, giving you a sense of achievement, anything. 20 wins. And if you're struggling to do this, maybe scroll through your phone, have a look at the photos, remind yourself of what you've done through your social media, or just maybe go through month by month and then add a few more in between to make up your 20. Maybe do 2 for each month, and that brings you to 24. So 20 wins from the year. So pause the recording and then come back to me. So hopefully you've now got your 20 wins. If you haven't, pause me again and go back minimum, absolute minimum 20 things. Okay? And if you're really struggling, phone a friend, ask them and say, what have we done this year? Chat to the kids. What's been the good things about this year? So minimum 20 things. It's a really important part of the exercise, really important part of the session. So 20 things that have made you feel happy, brought you joy, given you a sense of achievement, made you feel proud. Okay, 20 wins. So we're now going to move on, having done our 20 wins. And one big part of the work that I do is about choosing our thoughts. So you may have listed off some of the things that have happened to you, and I'm not going to dispute whether those things were good or bad. But being one of those people, you know, the people who, oh my God, this has been the worst year ever. I cannot wait for it to end. Okay. That thought is never going to drive even a neutral feeling. All it's going to do is give you a bad, negative feeling. Now, what we want to do is neutral is better than that. Good is even better. Okay? But having those thoughts does not serve us. So we're going to give ourselves the compassion to pick thoughts that serve us. Because what happens with our brain is most of our thoughts are subconscious. Huge amount. I think it's like 95% of our thoughts are subconscious. And these thoughts, so things happen like the year that we've just had, and we default to these thoughts, and something like 85%, I think of these thoughts in our subconscious are on repeat, and a huge, like nearly 90% or something, and negative. I should write this down because I quote this all the time and I never remember the figures. But it's absolutely huge amount that are negative. So just naturally we are in this negative thought loop. But the things happen, and the amazing thing is we get to pick the thought that then drives the feeling. The facts will stay the same. Like 2025 has been challenging for me. I'm not gonna, it has been challenging for me. I buried my mum back in February, early February. That fact isn't going to change. I can think, yes, it's the worst year ever, but it's never going to drive anything other than bad feelings. The fact isn't going to change. My mum's not going to come back, unfortunately. But I can think, I got through it. I've had some tough times and I've got through it. I've been through one of the most difficult things of my life and I've still created magic for my kids. These are different thoughts. There is literally billions of things, billions of thoughts you can pick about the same thing. The facts aren't going to change. I've got a client who is really struggling with her health. And we're doing quite a lot of work about still trying to create a life that she loves. But focusing on the bad, negative aspects of the health are never going to drive anything other than things that are going to make her feel worse. So we started to focus on things like, she's mentally been fairly strong. She's managed to connect with her kids and do things with her kids despite, the health. So the facts aren't going to change. Maybe a relationship's broken down. Maybe something has gone wrong. That the fact isn't going to change. What we can change in our world. What we can change in our world is the thought that we have about that. And then that thought will drive the feeling. And because a huge thing about it is we are on this negative loop. And also our brain's job is to prove us right. So if I say 2025 has been the worst year ever, my brain will reel through all the things that happened in 2025 and filter out the things that prove that 2025 was the worst year ever. Because it's our brain. So when we have this thought of it was the worst year ever, that's what it will look for. They're the memories, they're the moments that it's going to look for. We want to think about something else. So when you've looked at those 20 wins, looked at those 20 things, for me, we went to Disneyland Paris. We had a wonderful summer, the most amazing weather when we went back to Ireland for the summer. Like we've had loads of stuff happen. All these glimmers, all these small things. Like before we had to go back for the funeral, the kids went skiing. I went skiing for the first time in like 15 years. So these are the things that we want to think about. These are the things, these little glimmers. And it could be just sometimes getting outside and looking up at the stars or seeing the full moon or, these small things can get lost in this big wave of big moments and big things. And so what we want to do is interrupt the patterns, interrupt the thoughts, and pick the thoughts. Pick the things that are going to make us feel good. Now, for me, the thoughts are around, I feel quite proud that, I am here a lot on my own with the kids. And I've managed to create this magic for the kids, despite sometimes feeling awful, like feeling really low and really down about all the other stuff that's gone on. For me, there's some friendships have fallen to the wayside because I've put in some boundaries that people didn't like. But I've protected my energy, I've protected myself with these boundaries. And yes, the friendship has gone. That's the fact. But the fact that I've created some really healthy boundaries for myself makes me feel strong, rather than thinking, oh my God, I've missed out that friendship. That makes me feel miserable. So the facts won't change. We can't change those facts, unfortunately. What we can do is change the thought. So what I want you to do is go back to the paragraph that you looked at when you first wrote about your year. And I want you to write down a couple of thoughts, different thoughts. And whether that's, I got through the year, that takes you to a resilient, you've managed, you survived, you're a neutral. Okay? So whether that's, I've faced some really difficult things this year, but I'm here still standing. Whether that's like, despite what's happened, I'm here showing up for myself and giving myself some self-compassion. There's loads of thoughts that we can pick. So we've got to interrupt our brains out of this negative loop. Okay, that's what a lot of this work is. And don't get me wrong, it's not easy. It's not like, oh yeah, because there is this also as well, there's this disconnect that if you kind of like go from it's the worst year ever to, oh my God, it's the best year ever, your brain's just going to go, bullshit monitor. So you can't just kind of flip it completely on its head. And sometimes it's just small stages. So this has happened. This thing has happened. It's been a really tricky year. But I've managed to get through the end. I'm still standing. I'm still dancing around the kitchen to my 80s music. Like whatever it is, you can't, it's pointless going from like, this has been the worst year ever to the best year ever, because your brain's going to know. You can't trick it that much, but you can tweak it. So pause the recording in a minute, write down thoughts about your year that will drive different feelings, thoughts that serve you, thoughts that make you feel better about your year. Not going to change the facts. We can't change the facts. We're going to change the thoughts. So pause the recording, write down those thoughts, and then come back to me. So hopefully you've got down some thoughts about your year that are making you feel better than the thoughts that you were having at the start of this session. If you're struggling with this, I'm not going to be flippant and say, it is easy, especially if it's not something that you've done before. If you're struggling, maybe think about, what would you say to a friend who was saying the same thing? And what would you say? Often, I say to one client, would you say that to your daughter? Like, self-critical is a big thing. And just, would you talk to your daughter like that? Absolutely wouldn't. So think about what we would say to a friend, what we would say to maybe a child, those thoughts, in terms of trying to pick those thoughts. And if you're really struggling, please reach out to me, and I will try my best to find a little pocket of time to give you some help. But hopefully that this has just helped you to look back on the year. So for me, I have reflected on some of the things I did achieve. For me, a big thing was about showing up for my kids and creating magic for my kids. Solo parenting, it was, like I wasn't looking forward to Christmas this year. And it's like you can get on this negative loop, and it's actually turned out really well. My husband still isn't he? It's not like I magicked him up, but we've had a really nice Christmas. So these are the facts. The facts aren't going to change. It's the thoughts that change. I said, if you're struggling, please reach out to me. I do have a Facebook community. I also run different courses. I have sent this out on email, and I've added you to the email list. I hope that's okay. You can opt out if it isn't, because I will be doing some other things in January. We'll be doing about kind of setting ourselves up for the year and getting some goals in for the year, and trying to, create some more things, pockets of things that we love. But for now, hopefully you have closed your year with a lot more compassion. You're feeling a little bit better about the year. And if you need some more support, please reach out to me. And if you want to join any of the communities, if you want to join the Facebook group, then please let me know. And I want to wish you an absolutely beautiful 2026, and hope that you get all the peace and joy and compassion that you deserve. Thank you very much for trusting me and spending this time with me. And I hope to see you again on a live session, hopefully in the new year. Take care.